These two guys. These two guys. It's these two guys.
Hey, George Henry here.
And Larry Richardson.
And we are
These two guys.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about, just kind of randomly talking about Nicaragua.
Yeah.
And we got a friend that's from there, and he went down there for this summer, and we were talking about how much it costs and this, that, and the other thing. And people were saying, oh, well, you got it all wrong. Some people were saying, no, it's exactly right. So we had a gentleman reach out to us, Mr. Positivity, Greg Miceli, and he's joining us from Nicaragua. How's it going?
Hey, guys. Buenvenidos to Nicaragua. How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good. Pretty good. So you've been down there, what, 6 years now?
Yep. I came here 6+ years ago for extensive dental work. 2 days later, the world shut down, and still here working remotely.
So you got stuck there?
Some say stuck. Some say blessed. I mean, during the pandemic, would I rather been in Tampa Bay not having toilet paper or sit in this beautiful San Juan del Sur community of 5,000 people? It was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer just to stay here and work remotely.
So when you went down there, you said it was for dental work. So you didn't really have an idea that was going to be a home, or were you actually thinking about that before you went down there?
No. So I came here on a work project for a rehabilitation center. I was the marketing director, handling all of the communication from Nicaragua to the States in Tampa Bay. And 2 days after, I came here in January for this project. 2 months later, I came back for extensive dental work. I came here to the town in San Juan, went to one of the local dentists, just cause. You can't really tell now, but I had pretty bad teeth. Not for smoking or anything like that, just hereditary.
So crack?
And nah.
No, crack doesn't do
we can talk
anything.
about another podcast. But no, so basically, it was a third of the price. So my $24,000 quote that was in Florida was $8,000 to $12,000 here. So not only did I have a purpose to come back for the work, but I was going to go get my teeth done. And as soon as I arrived, 2 days later, pandemic struck. And I had a choice. And it was the best decision of my life was to go down the path that I've lived the last 6.5 years.
So did that cost you to have to switch jobs, or are you still in the same employment position?
I've actually been blessed to be an entrepreneur for about 10 years now, creating systems. And for me, I owned Tampa Bay Business Network, which is a networking club there in Tampa of about 50,000 businesses. So with me being ahead of the curve in tech, I just switched from the in-person events, which had about 100 business owners to just online virtual events. So I stood here in San Juan on the beautiful beach hosting my interactive events. So my company, unfortunately, just like many companies, I did have to sell it and move on. But it didn't affect any of the operations that I personally was doing. But yeah, you have to have a job here. You can't just come here to a third world country thinking that you're going to, flower or blossom something imaginary. You do have to have supplemental income when you're moving to another third world country like this, or even another country in Central America for that matter.
Well, I do understand they do have retirement visas, though, for expats and stuff like that you can get.
Yes, sir. Those are great. I'm 40. I don't think I came off that old with all these gray hairs, but yeah, definitely the expat community for seniors is great. You just have to prove A, B, and C. I think like your income, where you have your money, you have a bank account, and it's fairly easy for somebody over 50 to relocate here.
Yeah, wow. So you saw our podcast originally. We talked about $1,000 a month and what that basically would get you, and that started a lot of conversation and debate. So what kind of life could someone expect to live at just hypothetically or from your experiences at $1,000 a month?
So I've done a lot of data on this matter. And it comes down to the numbers. So let's start there. So 5, 6 years ago, there was 250,000 tourists coming to this town. Right now, within the last 6 years, we had over 1 million people come to
Wow.
Nicaragua, whether it was just going back and forth from the border or coming into the country. So, just in those 5 to 6 years, the cost of living has gone up, just like it would anywhere else. So, for example, 2020, when I came here during the pandemic, you can get a cerveza Atonia, you can get a Classica for $1, maybe $1. Now, that same beer, $2, $2.50 some of the places that you go to.
Wow.
So um, I did see that comment. Shout out to Josh. I do know Josh. He's actually one of my business partners for Destination Nika, which I sold it to him. And that is the company that I started here and founded with Destination Dentistry. But he's the one that made that comment, and it's about different lifestyles. So for myself, a single male, 30 to 45, let's say, you can get an apartment for about $300 to $500. Food is not that expensive if you don't go out every night. You're gonna have to learn how to live a little bit culturally. I go to eat my fritangas on the side of the road probably 2, 3 times a week. I love fritangas. So for me, you could definitely live. I wouldn't say off $1,000. I would say minimum 15 to 2,000 because the costs of rentals, especially here in San Juan, have gone a little bit up. But again, it's a tourist town. I live in the Las Vegas of the country.
So
So
there's other
imagine
places that might not be as much then.
in comparison to Granada. Granada is the oldest colonial city in Central America. I think it's fifth, but for there, things are still a little bit more cheaper because it's not the. We have 300 plus days of surfing here in San Juan del Sur. We have nightclubs, state of the art nightclubs. We have the cuisines. The food is delicious. So this is the spot to come when you do come to Nicaragua. So although it may be a little bit more expensive, it is absolutely more nicer than a lot of the other cities that you may visit when you're in your travels here to the country.
Now, how does it differ, like utilities and whatnot, from Nicaragua to here? You basically pay everything online here. You have your internet, your
Mhm.
healthcare, groceries, and all that type of stuff. How does that work out in Nicaragua?
So you kind of adapt. Um, so the electricity. Let's start there. That is the most expensive utility in this country. It's like gold, literally. In comparison to the states, it's probably the same. The United States, I've seen in just the last couple of years, their electricity and all that stuff has gone up too. The same here. The most expensive commodity in the country is the electricity. So the people that like air conditioning 24/7, the people that leave all the lights on their houses, you're gonna have in a 1,200 two-bedroom, two-bath house, maybe $100 to $200 bill. When me and my
Wow.
wife lived in a two-bedroom, two-bath, she would have the air conditioning on 8 hours of the night every single day, and we had about 125 in low season to maybe 150, 175 in the higher seasons. Higher seasons meaning May, April, and then November, December, January. Those are our higher seasons of when the tourism is just booming. There's only really 2 or 3 low seasons, and we're in them right now.
So what about the time to come and check it out? Well, I guess the low season would be better, or is it the
That's a
weather
good question.
problem?
Me, who's been here for 6 years working remotely, I love this time of the year. There's not a lot of action, meaning there's not a lot of tourists coming and going. So this is the time where the businesses and restaurants typically close on certain days. They would do their remodeling. A lot of the Canadians, believe it or not, we have a 30% Canadian occupancy here in San Juan. Like half of the restaurants are Canadian, owned by Canadians, and then the other half would be, of course, Americans, Europeans, a lot of Germans, some Russians have come into the family, a lot of Chinese. China has actually bought the fishing port in our little town.
Not
They've also
surprising.
built that Carretera highway. So we have a huge highway starting from Costa Rica all the way up north, all on the beach coast. That was a collaboration with a China venture. So from getting beach to beach now, it is so easy for tourists to come, to go, to hop and surf in one beach, go down a half hour, go to another beach. So that is going to be astronomically incredible for the communities here, as well as the restaurants and the businesses that may open up on this highway. That's, I want to say, 200, 300. It's a long highway. They're only about halfway done as well. So they're still actively working.
Now, is it advantageous to have your own vehicle there, or is there public transportation, or is it a little bit of both? Can you do either?
It's a lot of personal preference. For me, I bought a brand new motorcycle when I came right out of the showroom, $800 Yamaha 150. That got me everywhere that I needed to go for my first year here. Economically, you want a truck. It gets slippery. It gets rainy during the season. There are still dirt roads that are very difficult to go up and go down in. So you would want a vehicle if you do decide to live or move here. But if you're a single person and you can get around in a motorcycle, absolutely. I would take advantage of it.
So I'm guessing you have other friends that are expats there that have come down there. What is one of the big mistakes that, Americans or foreigners do when they come there? What's something that you could tell somebody, say, hey, if you come down here, avoid doing this?
I think we kind of touched base. I don't know if this was on the camera, but you have to have supplemental income. Like you got to have that supplemental income because you can't just come here expecting to make a living, because the locals are here doing the same. And I've seen a couple of situations to where expats will come, they see an opportunity, and then in 6 months or a year they have to leave because they can't afford it. Or they came here with hundreds of thousands of dollars in Bitcoins wanting to restart their life, and then what happened a couple of years ago? Boom. All of those Bitcoins went from 100,000 to 60 or 70, and all the people that came here wanting to invest, wanting to buy, couldn't afford it anymore, and they had to sell. Another thing is cultures with families. There's very good school here in town. There's colleges that my wife went to. She's trilingual, French, Spanish, English. So the schooling is another thing that the families either like or don't. Some of the families have left because they want their young kids to go to an accredited school or a school that they feel will give their kids more education, to where some of the expats that come here don't mind homeschooling their kids or don't mind putting them into a Spanish majority school. So I hope that answers some of your questions.
Yeah.
So here's a kind of a weird question here, kind of on a darker side. So you know that, and I'm not going to call out any ethnicity, but certain groups of people will sometimes bring crime with them to certain areas. I know you know what I'm talking about. Have you experienced any of that there? Have you seen,
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, and I don't know if you guys have looked. I don't know if you guys have looked at in my background, but I was an X-ray certified gun instructor for 12 years, and I've trained gun classes my whole life. And coming here, leaving my firearm home, was probably one of the most difficult things that I've had to do.
Can imagine.
But other than that, there's crime that come with holidays. Just like anywhere else in the world. You have a festival in New Orleans, it's going to bring petty crime and violence and things like that. The only crime that I see here is the petty thieving. People will steal from your car, people will steal your phone off of the table, things like that. There are no gangs here like in other countries. I will say Costa Rica, because we've seen a lot of bad things coming out of Costa Rica here, and we're only a half hour away from the border. Yeah. So yes, we do see some of that, but there's no gangs, so there's no drugs, there's no guns. One thing that was a huge change in this culture was in 2018 with the civil unrest, where the government took away everybody's guns. So civilians don't have firearms. There's no threat of that threat that I had back in Florida, of somebody running up and shooting, or somebody trying to rob my house with a firearm. There's a lot less stress in a third world country for me, believe it or not. Wow. So nice. Now I have my Glock next to my bed. I have my machete and my Bible. So I traded in the Glock for the machete.
I guess that works. And they don't have sugar cane down there, though, do they?
Yeah.
Do they really?
Do.
Oh, good. I meant
Honey, they
like,
got cane down here? Sugar. Azúcar.
well, you have sugar,
Azúcar.
but you have sugar cane, like
Like
the
the
raw
cane.
growth.
Like, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I thought yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Thought we did. Question.
So, so talk a little bit more. Talk a little bit more about yourself. Tell us a little bit more about you. I mean, obviously, you're. I guess you would be considered a creator. I mean, you have what 15,000 plus followers. I mean, talk a little bit about your journey there.
Well, I mean, even if I had 1 million followers, it's really the amount of friends you count on your hands
Yeah,
that
right.
really matters at the end of the day.
I
But
got that.
for me, um, this was the biggest decision of my life. I sent you a little bit of my background growing up in Queens, New York. I have an amazing family. I just actually updated my website. My parents' 45th anniversary of being married is coming up in the next 2 weeks. They've been together for 45 years, married for 40.
Congrats.
And a lot of my inspiration and my morals and my determination probably comes from my dad. Seeing him work at the gas station Amoco for my grandfather in New York, where I grew up. So it's just always been something about me. When I came here, something told me that this is where I should be. And I never had another opportunity. When I was in Florida, I was pewter report marketing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers affiliate. I was in Buccaneer suites every Sunday for the Bucs games. I was nominated the LLS Man of the Year through Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. We raised over $40,000 with my social media and my following. So I was the best that I probably was at 33 years old. And I decided, I've got chills. I decided to start over in a sense with this new opportunity and what with God I felt gave me. And people don't have these opportunities. And I haven't done anything wrong. I got one DUI back when I was 21. Who hasn't? And for me, it was something that was faithful that brought me here. And I cannot say how blessed that I am to find my wife a year later. Now I'm married 4 years myself, together for 5. Sorry. So yeah, I could go on and on and on forever, but I want you guys to ask me the questions so I can make it
All
more
right.
entertaining
So,
to the people.
so back in I think it was 2016 or 2019, they raised the minimum amount of money that you had to earn. Like went from $600 to $1,000. I think was the minimum you had to have. Has that changed, or is that still?
And this is for what?
Well, it's you had to have some kind of other income coming in to you, whether it was a retirement, whether it was, you know,
This is
a
talking about
job.
residencies and coming here and living, or
Yeah.
because I'm in the process of getting my residency through my marriage. But there's different ways of getting the residency here. So one is you already said, the retirement. That's the most popular one is the retirement. But then the other one would be the investor residency, in which you have to invest $30,000. Now, I'm not a lawyer, so nobody quote me on this. If you guys need an attorney, you can find one very easily. But you can invest and have a investor residency. There is a minimum for that, and every 6 months you have to go to renew it. That's something that I'm still entertaining with my wife, but I'm going the route of getting the residency through my marriage. I've been married 4 years, and that's the better route for me. I feel like it shows that I'm more serious about the country instead of just throwing money and getting a card. I wanted to be more part of the culture and show them that I'm part of the culture instead of just investing, throwing money like that. So,
So
but
then
yes,
your wife is from Nicaragua, and
yeah.
so how is that? How have you adapted to the culture there? How has it been over the last few years? Because obviously, when you first got there, you were probably like,
Fish out of water.
I kind of lost, maybe even.
It well, to me, during the pandemic was probably one of the best times of my life. And the reason I say that is because it took millionaires with little creativity and Greg Miceli with all the creativity and not million, and it put people on a pedestal like this. So while everybody was struggling back in Tampa, I was here creating. I was here enjoying my life. Absolutely. Did I come here a little bit concerned? Absolutely. You ask any gun guy that says you have to leave your gun home and come to a country, they ain't coming to this country. So for me, it was a little shock. I mean, there's cockfights. You're gonna see things in this country that you're just three or four people on a motorcycle, a mother, a father, a newborn baby, and somebody else on the side. That's culture shock to some people that just aren't used to it, because any normal American would see that and be like, those people should be in jail right now. That baby has no helmet. They have no helmets on. So
Yep.
the culture shock for me was that, like, I can make my own mistakes. I can make my own decisions and face the consequences. And like I already told y'all, I got my DUI when I was 21. I made my mistake.
Were you
But
traveled
here,
before you went there? Did you go to other
no,
countries?
no.
No.
I was in the military. I didn't go overseas. But I was blessed to go in the Army National Guard for the 4 years. This was the first country that I've ever been to, ever.
Wow.
I've been in 35, 40 different states in the U.S. teaching firearm classes. I've been to Ohio, Colorado, all the way up to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So I've taught about 15,000 people their concealed carry class in probably one of the most gangster, dark road places that you can think, teaching gun classes to gangsters. So for me, coming here was refreshing. It is not the hustle and bustle life that the U.S. has every single day. There's no politic talk here, which that's all I'll say about it, because there's no need for it. The people can live here without having to worry about what this person is doing, what this person is doing. And that is a lot of peace for me, because you guys see, I'm fast. I'm high speed. I will talk for hours. But some people can't handle that here. And if I was back home, I would fit right in. So the adjustment of living that fast Tampa Bay lifestyle, then coming here and actually taking a deep breath, enjoying the nature, all of the fresh fruit, all the food, all the chicken that we're eating was killed a day or two ago. All those tomahawks that I'm eating, they're a week old. So the fresh food that I'm eating, I'm healthier. I'm just mentally more stable, let's say,
Right.
than living in a fast life Tampa Bay or any city that you guys live in. It's so peaceful.
So what was COVID like there? Because obviously you went there right when it was going on here. I imagine you heard some stories about what was happening in the States. But what was your experience with that, and what was the situation down there as far as the health wise goes?
So they gave me the option of, I have 4 days to leave the country and go back home, or stay. So I decided to stay. I didn't run out of toilet paper. I had toilet paper the whole time. That's the first thing. Second thing is that the people were respectful. So the elder people here, they wore the masks. The banks and some of the grocery stores, you had to wear a mask to go in. Other than that, it was personal preference. People respect the elders, and there's a lot of more culture care here. Meaning the community looks after the community here.
Yeah.
If I'm on the side of the road, or if anybody here, expat, local, they see somebody on the side of the road, they're going to ask if they're okay or need help. That's just the kind of city and town that we live in here. So for me, it was peaceful. I mean, it was very sad to see what was going on in my hometown. It was sad to see all the people getting sick. That's what started this TikTok culture, which unfortunately I didn't get on board. I'd be sitting here talking to you with 5 million followers with millions of dollars in my pocket. But unfortunately it didn't happen for me that way. So, these last couple of years I've built everything that I've got, and I'm very blessed. But
So do you find that most expats that come down there recontribute to the local culture in that, or are there some that are there that are just like, I just come down here because it's cheaper?
it's a little bit of both. Anywhere you go, you have to have a purpose, and I feel living in a small town like this, you can find your purpose a lot easier. Also, you can go down the wrong path. But I feel the people come here to make a difference. Like, for example, Good Life Good Life Nika that made the comment about the $1,000. He invested in an amazing club here, and he's raised single-handedly the income of all of the locals. You know, when I came here in 2020, it was $220 a month salary for locals,
Wow.
$220 a month. So, for example, I'll use Good Life Nika. He came and opened an amazing club, opened a couple of businesses, even Destination Nika with myself, and he employed a lot of the town and raised the minimum. Now the minimum wage is $300 to even $700, $800 for line cooks and chefs and some of those the jobs that are needed for the community. So some people come with good intentions, and some people just come to party.
Yeah.
Some people come with their problems. Some people come with their wives or their husbands, and they can't make it, and
When,
it's very sad to see, unfortunately.
when you see another expat, do you guys find yourselves being drawn together? Like if you're sitting somewhere and you know someone is from United States, do you guys kind of like connect and make the little eye contact and like, hey, let's chat?
You can. I do. For me, I've gotten anxiety from that exact thing. So I like my peace and quiet. It's a small town. A lot of people do know each other. It is very friendly with the locals. Everybody says hi. Everybody says hola, buen dia. So it is a very, very friendly town. Very little you'll see people with attitudes, but again, it's a small town. So you'll see Greg on a bad day that just may beeline it right by you. I just don't want to talk to you today. So it is, but that's what it's important that the community, expats and the local Nicaraguanese community works together. That's what the key of any little small town and upbringing like this is working together with the community to build it up.
So one of the naysayers that was talking about it and made some comments on the video we had there says, and then you get kidnapped. I mean, obviously you don't feel like that's an issue there. What do you think? Is this so? Let me back this up with saying like, so we live in Oregon, right? And Oregon has this belief that it rains here all the time, right? So people don't like to come visit here because it rains. Well, we've had like 4 weeks of nothing but sunshine,
Yeah.
here. And so it's sort of a joke that we just tell everybody it rains so that nobody will come. So I wondered if maybe this whole thing, well, then you get kidnapped, is more like, just stay away because we don't want to ruin our thing.
No, I mean, okay, so two things. One, a woman did come here to Nicaragua that I met personally. She did get kidnapped in Costa Rica, not in Nicaragua. So maybe that I didn't read that comment, but I have never heard of anybody getting kidnapped here. This woman in Costa Rica, and if you like to have her on your podcast, if she's willing to talk about it, I'd like to introduce you to her. But she's got an incredible story. I met her 2-3 years ago at my restaurant that we used to have the Palms, and a month or two ago, she posted something. I seen her doing retreats and yoga stuff in Costa Rica. Well, she just posted today on Facebook just to let everybody know that they took me, and they literally held her captive for like 2 weeks, and she kind of wrote a little bit of the story without going into it. But I have never heard of anything like this here in the country. Maybe up north where there's indigenous people where you're not supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like, we have the largest or the second largest lake in Central America, Lake Okiboki, Lake Nicaragua. The only lake in the world with two volcanoes. The only lake in the world.
Wow.
Masaya and Conception. One active, one not active. You tell me if you go on there and you're not supposed to be, that you ain't going to be taken. Of course you're going to be taken.
Usually there's signs. There's usually yeah.
Usually warning signs.
There's usually
there.
warning signs before
I'm
something like that.
joking, but just, anywhere you're supposed to be, no, I have never heard any of these crazy stories like that.
So you
here.
you could probably say you've never really felt unsafe there?
I mean, me?
Yeah.
No. I'm 5'9", 140 pounds. I've never felt unsafe here. I've gotten in some situations before. I've never felt scared. Never.
Hey, thanks for staying to the end. Stay tuned for part 2. It's coming out soon. We'll have more information from Mr. Positivity, Greg Miceli. But don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Share with everybody. If you're thinking about a life after the U.S., maybe you should tell your friends and neighbors about it too. Of course, you don't want everybody down there. But anyway, like and subscribe. Go to our website, these2guys.com. Check out our merchandise. Get some Power Blast energy drink. We'd love to have you. Take care.
It's these two guys. These two guys. It's these two guys.